All right, Chris and Cash radio program. I'm Scotty Cash LaCasha. This is Chris O'Keefe.
Chris and Cash show.
We're going to be talking about, tell you a little story about last night. I was out with a couple of people, and obviously the Football Life. You know, it's a program that's run on the NFL Network. Jerome Bettis, who got in this year, they did a Football Life special on him. Pretty good. I enjoyed it. It went back to his days at Notre Dame with the when he started out with the Rams, came to Pittsburgh, etc. Capped, of course, by the victory over the Seahawks in Super Bowl 40, which was his last game. It was in Detroit, his hometown. So we're out last night, Chris, and just getting a friendly conversation with this guy. He's probably a Steeler fan for all I know. We were talking about where...
Got to be a Steelers fan.
We were talking about where the bus ranks all time. And he brought up a name that I took exception with, Curtis Martin. Now, this isn't because I'm a Patriot fan. I'm not, quote-unquote defending my guy because he played for my team. He actually spurned my team and went to the biggest rival. So I could give a damn about Curtis Martin. But you look upon it objectively, and you just look at the numbers and their peak, it's not even close.
No, it's not close at all, and that's what I'm sitting in bed next to my lovely wife, who's pregnant. Yep.
What's up, Mo?
Baby O'Keefe coming. And I get a random text message. Better running back. Bettis or Curtis.
That was me, by the way. But
Yeah, it was Scotty. And I was like, is he serious? Is he shitting me? And I was like, well, Curtis. And, of course, he agreed and said thank you. And I guess
I said thank you, capital letters.
Thank you, capital letters.
Thank you, in all caps.
I think he gave it to the Steelers fan, the Bettis guy at the bar. And then we were talking about, in my opinion, it's a really, really clear evaluation. Curtis Martin is by far better than Jerome Bettis. I mean, Curtis Martin is probably...
He retired, and he still remains fourth all-time in rushing list.
Yeah, he's probably a top 10 running back, no matter how you look at it.
There's no question.
We were trying to go over people better than him. We said probably Jim Brown.
No, definitely Jim Brown.
Okay, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Simpson, Emmitt Smith.
We were in agreement. We were in agreement that Sanders is the best I see.
Sanders is the best I've ever seen.
Without question.
I think he's number one overall. Scotty goes with Jim Brown. I get that.
Well, I mean, you look at Jim Brown. He played, and we'll get into this. I mean, I don't want to go into a whole thing here because I know you're going to make fun of me. But
stats.
No. You're going to make fun of me, but so be it.
Otto Graham, best quarterback ever.
No, shut up. So my father's seen them all. He has Sanders third, which I don't think is that outrageous. I actually think it's pretty proper based on what he did in his career. Playing, as you said, no quarterback, crap O-line, and the era in which he played, where it was more about the running game.
I need to interrupt for one moment. And Scotty and I talked about this yesterday.
Okay.
If Sanders plays with, say, Dallas, San Fran, maybe even
with that O-line,
but
right.
with the Dallas O-line
2,000 yards every year. Automatic.
Guy runs for 20,000 yards, maybe more.
Automatic.
He has more yards than Jerry Rice.
What does he have? He had 16,000 when he walked away at age 30.
Yeah,
so
about
he clears
15,000 something.
He clears 20,000 easy.
Yeah.
No, I think it was over 16.
I think it's like 15.8, but regardless.
We'll look it up later. But getting to that point, my father has his holy trinity of running backs. He's got Jim Brown 1, can't disagree. He's got I know he killed 2 people. He's got Juice 2, can't disagree there.
Killing people might be a benefit. I mean, come on, Aaron Hernandez.
All right, that's just crossing the line. That's just too much. But certainly you look what O.J. did in his prime with the Buffalo Bills, 2,000 yards in a 14-game season. I'm pretty sure he had like 143 yards per game, which is still a record, which was just absurd. But like you actually look at O.J.'s stats, like 72 through 76, say with Buffalo. It's hard to produce better seasons than that. Now, you get to Jim Brown, the record speaks for itself. He played 9 years, led the league in rushing 8 of those years. I think the only time he didn't was his rookie year. There was 1 year where he missed a couple of games, but I think he led in touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, like 6 of those 9 years. He retired the all-time leader in yards, rushing touchdowns, etc.
To me, it goes back to the way that they moved. I mean, you can say Barry's not as big a guy, he's not as powerful. That's
no one
true.
No one cut like him.
No one cuts like Barry Sanders. And if Barry Sanders had a line, he's going to get maybe he breaks 3,000 yards with the Dallas line. Who knows?
I think 3,000 is a little too much.
Well, obviously that's just hyperbole, but You don't know.
That's like Russia for 300 yards.
The guy averaged, I mean...
You got Sanders' stats up there?
Yeah, it's 15,269 yards, by the way.
Okay, I was wrong.
One year he led the league with 5.7 yards per attempt. Another year he was 6.1, and the O-line sucked. If he had a great O-line, I mean, maybe he averages 8 yards per carry.
Well, I'm going to answer my own question here in a second, but in all due respect to Emmitt Smith, I think he's top 5 easy. I think he's one of the greatest running backs who ever played. Does Dallas still win 3 out of 4 with Barry Sanders? I say absolutely yes.
Oh, of course,
no
absolutely
question.
Yes. I mean, a lot of times you can do if we transfer this guy into this person's position, do they still win? Like, does Peyton Manning win 3 Super Bowls with the early Patriots? Probably.
I don't know about that.
I don't think Peyton Manning has the sustained success Brady has with the Patriots and Belichick's Patriots. But the first 3 Super Bowls Brady won, I mean, Brady was not, quote-unquote, Brady. He was very good. He was mistake-proof, I guess, and was clutch as shit. But at the same point in time, I don't know that if you stick Peyton in there, that he doesn't win those Super Bowls.
See, I'm not sure about that.
Well, why not?
Here's one thing. And people will always talk about Manning had more talent around him earlier in his career than Brady did, which is true. I don't think anyone will argue that. You had Marshall Faulk really early in his career. Then you had Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely, Dallas Clark. Go all through the list.
Offensive line was incredible.
A great offensive line, except when it mattered in big postseason games. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, that's the same. Could be said for Brady.
Right. But one thing. Here's the thing. One advantage Brady's always had over Peyton is Belichick. He always had the superior coach. I don't think even the biggest Belichick haters would argue that. It's similar in the 60s. Chamberlain was surrounded by tons of talent, despite, people saying that he didn't. That's nonsense. The team in 67 that won the championship, Billy Cunningham was coming off the bench. Okay?
Yeah, Will Chamberlain should have had at least 4 or 5 titles.
Agreed.
I mean, Bill Russell was...
And a couple of more. He only had one at Russell's expense. It should have been more than that. But one thing that Russell... And I still say this, but forget talent. One advantage Russell always had over Chamberlain, not that Chamberlain played for bum coaches. Alex Hannum was a great coach. He always had Auerbach. That's big.
And I agree, but then are we going back to the importance of a coach? I mean, coaches are extremely important. In basketball, they're actually very important.
They're overrated and underrated at the same time.
Yeah, and in football, they're probably the most important out of all of the 4 major sports. But it's a players' league, and players play, and players win. I mean, if you just switch out Russell for somebody else, is read as good a coach. If you switch out Brady for, Drew Bledsoe or anybody Belichick had in Cleveland, how does he look?
That's fine, but think about it. How many clowns have actually won the Super Bowl? Coaches? Do you consider Dick Vermeil?
I mean, is Shanahan a clown?
Because he might be. Dick Vermeil?
Yeah, these guys might be clowns. I mean, look at the teams they had. The Broncos in the late 90s were stacked. Is that because Shanahan's some incredible coach? I mean, he is the Kubiak zone run. I mean,
I honestly didn't think Shanahan was that bad a coach.
I don't think he's a horrendous coach, but I don't think Shanahan.
I'm talking like Barry.
Okay, Tomlin. Okay, is Tomlin a good coach? Because I think I could coach better than Mike Tomlin.
He's good at tripping.
Mike Tomlin is.
He's good at tripping people.
Yeah, he's great at tripping people, and he's great at looking like actors. Because he looks like an actor.
We were listening to the Patriots radio broadcast.
All right, Mr. Epps. But you know what?
Omar Epps.
I mean, I need some. Maybe Omar Epps should play me, even though we don't look anything alike.
Okay, I got one for you. All
right.
Barry Switzer.
He's not a good coach.
Dude was a clown.
There's a lot of clowns that have won. I mean, you could say that crappy quarterbacks have won Super Bowls because, I mean, Trent Dilfer. I mean, there's actually a good amount of quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls that have had 0 QB passer ratings in a game. I mean, Eli Manning. But at the same point in time, I mean, Coughlin? Tom Coughlin might be the greatest upset coach the league has ever seen, considering he actually beat that late 90s Denver team to get the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
But to be honest with you, I love Coughlin.
I know he's
beating the Patriots sweat.
I like Coughlin a lot.
Best coach BC ever had.
I agree.
Hands down.
But you know what? At the same point in time, you're going to sit here and tell me that he's a great coach? There's Belichick, then there's a giant gap, and by giant gap, I mean Pacific Ocean, and then the next best coach in the league. It's even better than bigger than the gap between, say, Gronk and the next best tight end. It's Belichick.
Gap. Who would you even have right there?
I don't even know, because there's no one close.
Would you have Jimmy Graham right now?
Oh, Jimmy Graham, yeah. Jimmy Graham or Travis Kelce for next best tight end. But who's the next best coach in the league? Is there a next best coach? I mean, look at the coaches that have won Super Bowls, have been to Super Bowls. I mean, is Fox a good coach?
Oh, hell no.
Is Fisher a good coach? He made a Super Bowl.
Jeff Fisher ain't bad.
But is he good? Is he anywhere close to Belichick?
No.
I mean, these guys are schmucks. There's a reason why they hate Belichick.
Okay.
Is Pagano a good coach?
He's Italian.
No, he's Italian. He's got to be a good coach. I mean, Italian stallion.
Rex went to back-to-back AFC Championship games with Mark Sanchez.
And honestly, as a head coach, as much as I think Rex is funny and he's entertaining and he's great for me to read and write about, he's hell of a defensive mind, great coordinator. He's a bum head coach. Oh, he's never had a quarterback. You know what? He's always had a great defense. So when you're sitting there with incredible defensive talent, how hard is it to be a defensive coach? Hey, Ray Lewis, do your thing, bro. That's really hard to do. I mean, those Ravens teams
don't forget Ed Reed.
Yeah, you had Ed Reed.
Top 3 safety ever, probably.
Ed Reed might be the greatest safety ever. I mean, Darrell Revis is probably one of the top 2 cornerbacks ever. That's Deion Sanders and Revis. Would you disagree?
I think he's in the top 5. I think
Revis is the second best probably cornerback ever. Maybe Deion.
Mike Haynes.
Mike Haynes. I get that. You're going to go through a whole bunch of different old school names. Ty Law's not one of the best cornerbacks ever. He's great. Hall of Fame.
You wouldn't put him in top 10?
Nah, top 10. It's hard to make a cornerback list. I'd say he's definitely top 15, top 20, top 10. I don't know if Ty Law's top 10. I mean, he's a borderline Hall of Fame. He should be in the Hall.
He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
If you talk about Patriot Hall of Fame,
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and it's not going to happen overnight because if Kurt Warner isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, then I don't know who the hell is. I have no and I get that. I get that he didn't do it, for a long time. This is all I'm going to say about Kurt Warner. For me, it's all about your peak and how you played in big games. Passing yardage in the Super Bowl, he owns 1, 2, and 3.
Does he still own all those?
1, 2, and 3.
Still, wow.
I think he's the only one to go over 400 yards.
If he owns 1, 2, and 3, he's got to be.
No, but I'm saying I don't think there's been one since. I know he did.
Well, then he wouldn't own 1, 2, and 3 anymore. So.
What the hell are you talking about?
For yardage.
No, I'm saying I think he's the only one to exceed 400 yards in a Super Bowl.
Yes, and what I'm telling you is that 1, 2, and 3, he didn't do it every time.
No, I get that. No. He didn't do it against the Pats in 01. I believe
right.
he was
so
over
no one else has done
game.
over 400 yards, or they'd be number 1 or whatever. But I mean, we're kind of getting a little off topic, going all over the place.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Getting back to the running backs,
the schmuck coaches. I mean, running backs. I mean, the league is it's a conundrum. It's the Patriots League, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what the NFL's doing? They're trying to even it out.
Bring them back down to earth.
Yeah, this is not one of those things where they need one team that wins all the time, even though they should probably be celebrating it because they'll never see it again. You're never going to see in free agency, in the salary cap era, a coach and quarterback like this. I mean, they're going to win 200 games together. Let's just put that out there. They're at, 163 in the regular season?
Something like that.
They're going to win 200.
Brady's good for another few years at least.
Yeah, Brady's probably good for 2, 3 more solid years.
At this point,
elite years.
This point, I know that they drafted Garoppolo to be his successor.
Worst pick ever.
Yeah, I know. You're not a big fan of that pick. At this point, for Christ's sake, I mean, call Cleveland. Forget about Manziel. Oh, he had a great game. This, that, and the other thing. Great, grand, and wonderful. They need a quarterback. You're not going to win. You're not going to go to the next level with Johnny Manziel. Agree or disagree? That's just my opinion.
I get that, but it is Jimmy G.
He's like Flutie, only he's like 1/100th of the player that Flutie was.
We'll refrain from using slurs. But is Jimmy G, is he not a goat herder?
I don't know why you keep bringing up Gio Calmazzi.
I mean, how do we know Jimmy G's any good? Because he's a good-looking kid that sits on the sidelines real well?
Looks like Aladdin.
Yeah, he looks like Aladdin. So what? The kid looks like Aladdin. That makes him a good quarterback?
That's what they call him. Yeah, but in his defense, though, he played against the Bills the regular season finale last year, right? Patriots had nothing to play for. Gronk didn't see the field. Edelman didn't see the field.
Okay.
I don't think LaFell played.
Okay.
Brady played the first half of that game.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him with the starters. We haven't seen him with Gronkowski for a whole game. We haven't seen him with Edelman for a whole game.
Right, but an unknown with a quarterback, I mean, the vast majority of quarterbacks are unknowns till they start playing, but the vast majority of quarterbacks burn out, fizzle, fail. Even if you draft a quarterback in the first round, it's just a coin flip on whether or not they're going to be good or not. We're not talking Tom Brady good. We're talking Alex Smith, Matt Schaub good. Okay? We're talking about maybe you get a Matt Castle. I mean, look at Geno Smith. Look at E.J. Manuel. I mean, look at Ryan Tannehill. How good is this guy really? This is his big year to step up. He's not
They're
close.
1-2 and they look awful.
Yeah, he's not close.
They barely beat the Redskins.
So Chad Henne, no matter, you go down the line, that's why people say.
I thought you were going to say Pennington for a second. Now it's actually going to
Pennington is, just so you guys know, Pennington is our deciding line.
What was it?
He is the Mason Dixon for us. Okay? He is. Pennington decides whether or not you're a good quarterback or a bad quarterback.
Because he was good. He was a good quarterback.
He is the baseline for if you're better than Pennington, you're a good quarterback. If you're worse than Pennington, you're a crap quarterback. That's how we decide.
No, but I thought you were going to say... You said Chad Henne. I thought you were going to say Chad Pennington, and I was ready to jump out and, Pennington was actually decent.
No, Pennington was pretty good. I mean, did he make 2 Pro Bowls?
I think he made 2. I know he made
He made comeback player of the year twice. I mean, that's pretty impressive. The guy couldn't throw...
he wasn't great, but he had a good career.
The guy had less arm strength than Peyton Manning does now. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, you know what, though? Yeah, okay.
Accurate.
He threw lollipops, but, it got to where it needed to go.
Well, 5 yards down the field. I mean, what do you want to do, Scotty?
But, Pennington was good. You look back on it, go to the 2000 draft, think of some of the bums that were drafted. Carmazzi, T. Martin, Surgeon Wynn. He's probably... Mark Bulger was in that draft. He's probably the second best quarterback coming out of that draft.
No, I'd give that. I mean, it was Brady, obviously, by far. Pennington, and then Bulger, and then...
Everyone else.
Everyone else is even just crap. That's my point with quarterbacks, though, is we think, Jimmy G. He drafted Jimmy G. He drafted Ryan Mallett. Does Ryan Mallett look like a good quarterback?
Yeah, but you know what? There are can't-miss quarterbacks.
Andrew Luck.
You knew Peyton was going to be great. You knew, Luck looks like he's regressing
even
now.
Then, let's talk about this for a minute, okay? There's can't-miss quarterbacks, and the can't-miss quarterbacks we've had. Well,
but you knew Peyton was going to be great.
It was Bledsoe versus who? Myra.
Rick Meyer, yeah.
They were both supposed to be possible great can't-miss type quarterbacks. It was Peyton versus Ryan Leaf.
Where'd Meyer
Seattle.
go? Meyer went...
Seattle.
No, but he went to Notre Dame, right?
College.
I think so.
My college football knowledge is nil.
All right, okay.
The reason for that is the BCS. Thank you for just instituting a playoffs, because if you don't have a playoffs...
Long overdue, by the way.
Yeah, no playoffs, no watchy for me, okay? But, seriously. So you get 2 can't misses there, one of them misses. You get 2 can't misses with Peyton and Leaf.
Drew had a really good career.
No, Drew hit.
Yeah, Drew
is a borderline Hall of Famer. Borderline. He's not going to make it.
He might get in 20 years from now.
He should
20 years from now. When you look back at revisionist history and you're like, wow, he threw for 44,000 yards back when you were able to manhandle people. That's still pretty impressive.
Unless Boomer Esiason makes it in.
Boomer Esiason won a regular season MVP.
I agree. I know he did.
He went to a Super Bowl.
Unless Rich Gannon makes it in. Same thing. Regular season MVP went to a Super Bowl. If those guys aren't going to be in the Hall of Fame,
I don't think. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that either of them have the volume stats that Bledsoe does. That's my whole point.
So you guys know, this is a big thing: longevity versus peak, longevity versus dominance. I mean, Bledsoe never reached the highest level that Gannon or Boomer reached. Okay, he has more longevity. So what do you favor? I mean, Scotty tends to, being a baseball guy, the 3,000 hits type thing.
Yeah, whatever.
He likes longevity a little more than I do. I love longevity, but only in baseball can you be a 2-time in a row MVP and not make the Hall of Fame. Yes.
Roger Maris.
Yes.
Just to name a couple.
It's not okay. I mean, in any other sport,
yeah, but you know what?
In basketball, you make 1 MVP automatically in the Hall of Fame. That's a little ridiculous, maybe, but
all right.
Hall of Fame.
He's not going to the Hall of Fame.
Every other MVP is.
To be fair, though, the Baseball Hall of Fame, you can't get the baseball writers to agree that the sky is blue. They disagree on everything.
Agreed, but
I'm going to say this right here. I do not give a shit about the steroids. How in the hell are Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens not in the Hall of Fame? How?
They have to be. Everyone from this era you're going to disagree with this, but you have to let them in, and then you have to let in Palmeiro. You have to let in a bunch of other people.
I'm not sure about...
I don't care if they cheated and we know they cheated. If they cheated and we don't know they cheated. I mean, if you can let in Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, who have alien heads, okay, because of all the juice they did, then you can let in everybody else.
Though? Palmeiro got caught. Technically, Bonds and Clemens never failed the drug test. If you want to get real technical on this.
Okay. So the guy that got speeding and got pulled over, but was going 70. Then another guy goes 300, but we don't catch him, so it's fine.
Absolutely.
That's a ridiculous argument. I hate that argument. But my thing is, if you're going to let one in, you let them all in. And you can't keep them all out because you're going to keep A-Rod out. Let's be honest. Pujols, probably juicing. Ortiz, probably juicing. Manny Ramirez, one of the best right-handed hitters I've ever seen.
Was taking female fertility drugs.
Either that or he was trying to get pregnant. I mean, it is what it is, guys. Adrian Beltre, you know what? Based on advanced statistics,
he's going.
Guy should be a surefire Hall of Famer.
He's got 2,800 hits now.
I don't know how many.
Does
he have that many now? I thought his stats were way worse than that.
Nah, they're pretty damn good.
His career stats, but the point is, he's not traditionally a guy that you would think is a Hall of Famer, but his WAR and just some of his other stats, he's incredible on some levels.
a studded defensive player at third base.
Oh, stud. He also is a studded
That was
destroying
also
teammates.
That was also like one that Theo Epstein, when he was with the Red Sox, in my opinion, really missed on. You kept Kevin Youkilis, who was breaking down. You let Adrian Beltre go, who was like still like sort of in his prime.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, not that I think Theo was a bad GM, but
I actually think Theo was a pretty. Look at the Chicago Cubs. Proof is in the pudding. He rebuilt that entire franchise
I agree,
in 4
but
years.
Dan Duquette doesn't get enough credit. We talk about this all the time. Dan Duquette, part of those first two teams, especially the 04 team, that's Dan Duquette.
All right, Damon was a Duquette guy. Manny Ramirez was a Duquette guy. Trot Nixon, Jason Varitek, Derek Lowe, Pedro Martinez. His fingerprints were all over that 04 team. There's no question.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got Epstein. He signed Bellhorn. Brought in Bill Miller.
Yeah.
If you want to... See, 04 is tricky because...
Schilling?
Okay, I was going to get there.
Who's Schilling?
Keith Falk, exactly. But... Kevin Millar, first base, and then he made the trade for Minkiewicz mid-year, and they had Pokey Reese at second base. Their infield defense in the postseason, late innings, was ridiculous. No one.
Now, if they
here's what I was going to
they get A-Rod.
Here's what I was going to say though. Let me finish this thought. 04 is tricky because Nomar was a Duquette guy, and Theo traded him for Orlando Cabrera.
And by the way, Orlando Cabrera, if you guys haven't heard, you need to hear when Curt Schilling tells stories about him. He was the enforcer in that clubhouse.
He was nuts.
He threatened to beat up people all the time if they wouldn't play.
Manny Ramirez,
including Manny. Yep. You have to hear that Schilling soundbite. I don't have it in front of me. I don't want to paraphrase and destroy the story. You should find that. Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty phenomenal. All right, so you were going to make a point.
Oh, I mean, if they get A-Rod, do they still win the? Does that mess up their entire I mean, how important is chemistry?
See, I don't even think A-Rod is like a terrible guy and a bad teammate. But I think just like the implied persona.
Well, the Yankees might think so. The former Yankees.
Derek Jeter might. My favorite book, if you guys haven't read The Yankee Years, Joe Torre's book, I highly, highly recommend it. You don't have to be a Yankee fan, just be a baseball or sports fan. And I love Joe Torre. I loved him when he was manager of the Yankees.
Because he's Italian.
I love him. I think he's a class act. He's just one of my favorite baseball people. Read that book. It is absolutely fantastic. But one of my favorite anecdotes from that book, and I don't even know if I told you this, was his obsession with Jeter was so deep that Jeter was wearing a specific pair of jeans like into the stadium one day.
Oh, A-Rod's.
No, Jeter was.
A-Rod's obsession with Jeter.
Yes. That's what
I thought you meant Torre's obsession with Jeter.
Jeter doesn't give a shit about A-Rod.
No, I thought you meant Torre's obsession with Jeter.
I'm sorry. Okay.
I know. I've heard this, yeah.
Jeter goes onto the field to practice. For those who haven't heard it, Jeter goes onto the field to take fielding practice, batting practice, etc. So A-Rod's combing through Jeter's locker and finds the jeans, calls a clubhouse boy over, and says, I want these exact jeans FedEx to Yankee Stadium so I can wear them after the game. Here's my size. And he wore the jeans after the game.
It's absurd.
I mean, did he want to have sex with Jeter?
Nah, I mean, who knows if there's a homoerotic relationship going on there. I mean,
have you seen that
maybe
picture?
Derek Jeter sent him a little gift bag before he had to go away.
All right. Also, is there any coincidence that Jeter retires the year that A-Rod suspended for the entire year?
No, I mean, let's be honest. Jeter clearly
he was losing at the last
abhorred A-Rod.
I wouldn't even say abhorred. I would. One thing I'll give Rodriguez credit for, the year that the Yankees won the World Series in 2009, there was a lot of questions for probably basically like a year and a half about their relationship. And A-Rod came to spring training, guns blazing, and said, look, yeah, we're not friends anymore. We're not close. But that doesn't matter. We're here to win games. We're not here to be best friends. I actually respected that. That's
that.
Perfect way to handle it. After that, it was all out in the open. They went out and played baseball. They won 103 games. They blew away everyone that won the World Series. That's how you should do it.
Well, even more, I respect the fact that A-Rod was a vastly superior player. Okay, for those of you that don't know.
He's a great player.
Not that Jeter's a bum, but Jeter is a very good player who is extremely overrated.
I would still say he's a great player. But
I wouldn't, because I don't think he was ever great. Look at his numbers. Look at his numbers all time compared to the other Yankees. I know that's lots of great other Yankees. Look at his numbers all time compared to everybody else. He was never a great player. When there was the big three of shortstops earlier in the 2000s, Jeter wasn't in it, guys.
Yeah, he had all the rings.
I don't care that he had rings, because you know what? Baseball isn't about... Because it's baseball, as much as it's a team game, it's not. Baseball is a one-on-one game.
It's the most individual sport
masquerading, right, as a team game. So no one cares about the rings you win. Ted Williams, 0 rings.
Ty Cobb.
Still a top 5 player of all
Artie
time.
Banks.
0 rings in baseball means nothing compared to 0 rings for a quarterback or 0 rings for a basketball player, okay? There's a reason why you can't say
In,
Karl Malone's one of the best.
in hockey, it still matters you don't win a Stanley Cup. Why do you think Ray Bourque held on as long as he did and demanded a trade?
Career was I would say it means more than baseball, but still means less than basketball. And in football, it only matters for quarterbacks. I mean, no one cares if a cornerback won a ring or not because of what kind of cornerback do.
Is Rob Gronkowski a better tight end than Tony Gonzalez because he has a ring and Gonzalez doesn't?
No. If Rob Gronkowski is a better tight end than Tony Gonzalez, it's because he's a more complete and more dominant player.
And he probably is.
Although Tony Gonzalez did it.
But he did it way longer.
Yeah.
You know, you could throw Antonio Gates in there too. No one ever talks about Ben Coates and how dominant he was.
Oh, Scotty will tell you about his Ben Coates fascination.
Dude, the guy was a stud.
Yeah. What'd you say a few years ago, though? I mean, he gets a mulligan for it. Let's be frank.
Well, Gronk couldn't stay on the field.
Okay, so Scotty thought that Ben Coates was better than Gronkowski. He also thought Drew to
Coates was lethal.
Was more devastating than Brady to Gronk.
Okay, I was wrong.
Granted, yeah, we're all wrong. But
here's the thing. He couldn't stay on the field. He couldn't stay on the goddamn field.
I understand that. But when you saw him play, I mean, he was the most dominant tight end you've ever seen.
All right.
Possibly weapon ever in football.
And we've talked about this before, and we can mention his name because we're not, legally obligated to, we're not like the Patriots and act like he never existed. You can make a case that had Hernandez not turned into Charles Manson, that he could have possibly been better.
Yeah, if Hernandez had waited to be OJ 10 more years, I agree. I mean, I have never seen a man Hernandez's size. We're going to go back to movement, the ability to move, like Barry Sanders. I have never seen a man Hernandez's size move that way, side to side, juke people in the open field. I mean, he would lose smaller guys with his quickness.
He was an okay blocker. He wasn't as good a blocker as Gronk. He wasn't as good a blocker as someone like Daniel Graham, who was with the Patriots.
Oh, Daniel Graham was a solid blocker.
All right, but if you think about it, Hernandez was more of a wide receiver playing tight end.
Hernandez was a hybrid. He was a joker. We'll go back to that term that we've talked about before.
He could line up in the backfield and run the ball.
Hernandez could have played quarterback. I mean, he wouldn't have been good, but he was a joker. He
would have been better. He would have been better than Geno.
Would have been better than Tebow too. But
he would have just been if you try to attack me, I'm going to stab you after the game. It just would have gone like that.
The point is, it goes back to defining greatness. Okay, Derek Jeter was not great. A lot of these head coaches in the NFL,
could I interject for just one second?
I don't appreciate very good as much as other people do, apparently.
Can I interject for a second?
Rex Ryan, very good. Jeter, very good. Great. Lots of very good people. Am I supposed to appreciate very good? Am I supposed to appreciate the greats? Tell me about Jeter.
You have over 3,400 hits, and you hit 314 for your career. You're pretty freaking good. Okay?
I didn't say he wasn't pretty freaking good.
Do you know how hard that is to do?
I would imagine it's really hard to get 3,000 hits. At the same point in time, does 3,000 hits alone make you great? Look at his numbers. Look at everything that he does. When was he ever an MVP?
He actually should have won it in 06, and he didn't.
Jeter should have never won MVP. Scratch that from the record.
You could argue he had a better year than Justin Morneau that year in 06. And the Yankees had the best record in the American League. They lost in the first round, but they had the best record in the American League.
Yeah.
Not saying Derek Jeter got screwed out of the MVP. No. But I think he finished second, and he easily could have won the award.
I mean, so in baseball, when A-Rod was MVP on the worst team in the league...
Helps Rodriguez is a better player.
Great, right, exactly. It was A-Rod, Nomar, Tejada. Were all better than Jeter in the early 2000s. All of them.
And by the way, I have a huge issue with that. We've talked about that before. A-Rod winning an MVP on a 67 last win.
That's what I was going. Does that...
So he's more valuable. He's more valuable than player X. Oh, because if Texas Rangers won 67 games with him, they might have had 100 losses without him. Asinine.
Well,
absolutely ridiculous.
If the guy's worth 15 wins, the guy's worth 10 wins. I mean, and it's really an individualized sport where you can't necessarily change wins and losses. Like LeBron James. LeBron James goes to any team, especially in the East, they're probably automatically in the finals because of his value. But the fact that he can actually impact the games in a way, A-Rod can't hit for everybody. A-Rod can't play defense for everybody. A-Rod's not a pitcher. That's why we don't go back to wins for baseball players. Ted Williams could have hit 700 and been on base every friggin' time. Wouldn't it mean that the Red Sox would win a World Series? That's not how it works.
Baseball's different.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different sport.
It's not a contact sport. So I mean but it's just like we said, it's individualized.
So I have no problem with A-Rod winning on a last place team, specifically because of how the sport's set up.
Yeah, but how valuable can you be if your team's in last place?
Apparently the most valuable.
I completely disagree. But so yeah, we're gonna take a little break here. We'll come back later on and talk about something else. I don't know what the hell. What do you want to talk about? Anything?
I'm just kind of...
All right.